So I want to make a quick video addressing some of the concerns that people have posted on my channel and talk about why I'm doing the Bill Nye series. Um, so for those of you who have been paying attention to my videos, you know that I've been watching through the new Bill Nye show, and I've been responding to each episode in a video. Some of the episodes I just skipped over because there really wasn't much for me to comment on, but maybe I'll go back and watch them and address them from there. But some of the comments were really thoughtful and really enlightening, and people made me think about things in a way that I hadn't. Others were not so helpful. For example, with the vaccines episode, that was the one that turned out I got the most controversy about, which I was surprised for. I would have thought it would have been the global warming episode. Now, one person in the comments section said, "Oh, well, you agree with Bill Nye on vaccines, so I assume you endorse his sex junk song also." And I'm like, no. Okay, look, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So I can disagree with Bill Nye on some things and agree with him on others. I've referred to him as Bill Nye the Nazi guy in previous videos. So, I mean, to say that me agreeing with Bill Nye in one area means that I agree with him in every area is obviously absurd. And, like, I mean, seriously, if, we take 2 minutes to think about it, no intelligent person could take that seriously. So, the reason that I am reviewing his videos is because it's not... I feel like it's almost painfully obvious. Like, I'm sitting down watching his videos and critically analyzing them, giving a critical review, giving a response. You go to places like Answers in Genesis, for example, and they have article series responding to each episode of Cosmos. And so it's absurd to think that because I'm watching Bill Nye's episodes and reviewing them, that means I automatically agree with everything he says. I mean, that's basically the definition of nonsense if you were to look it up in a dictionary. So, with regards to the vaccines episode, you'll be very hard-pressed to find anybody with a scientific background who is anti-vaccines. I mean, it's almost impossible to find. Like, I've made videos talking about the anti-vaxxer movement before. There's a few of them on my channel. And I tried to take an open-minded approach, but it wasn't until this particular video that somebody was able to actually put a comment on there and say, "Hey, Greg, there's actually this doctor here who is an anti-vaxxer." And I was like, really? So that was surprising to me. Because the way I approach something like this is I will say, okay, what are there any experts who might take a particular approach? So, for example, when you have atheists saying, "Oh, well, Jesus never existed," it's like, well, can you cite any historians who believe that? And they're able to cite maybe 2 or 3. And all the rest of the world's historians don't agree with them, but I still take the time to sit down and hear out what people like Richard Carrier have to say about saying that Jesus didn't exist. And honestly, their arguments are foolish. Or if somebody says something like, well, women make 77 cents on the dollar for the exact same work as a man. I say, well, can you cite any economists who believe this? Well, no. It turns out every economist in the world says that's not true. The feminist wage gap is a myth. Now with vaccines, it's like, okay, who would be the experts here? Primarily doctors and immunologists. Those would be the people to talk to about whether vaccines are safe, whether they're effective or not. So that is the approach I've taken, is I want to say, okay, we have it where the vast majority of doctors and immunologists say that vaccines are safe and effective. And that is very much the mainstream scientific opinion. Now, I was very surprised when somebody posted and said, well, here is a doctor giving this lecture on why he doesn't believe in vaccines. And I'm like, okay. So I sat down, started watching it, and then there were links next to that video and links from those videos. So what I'm going to do is I want to give this a fair treatment. I want to give it a fair shot. I want to sit down and say, okay, we have anti-vaxxer doctors. Maybe these are snake oil salesmen. Maybe they're not. And, with one of them, for example, his medical license was revoked. And people are like, oh, his medical license was revoked, you can't trust him. And I'm like, well, just because his medical license was revoked doesn't mean anything. Because that really begs the question. If you believe there's a conspiracy, then maybe his medical license was revoked just to shut him up. So, it's kind of question-begging to say, well, his medical license was revoked, therefore you can't trust him. For crying out loud, Galileo, in modern terms, had his science license revoked. That doesn't mean he was wrong. And he was the extreme minority, whereas, all the other scientists of his era said, no, he's wrong. And then the other scientists didn't like what he was saying and got the church involved in the situation. So there's a lot with history that I take into account when I look into controversial issues like this. So with the anti-vaxxers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at doctors, I'm going to look at immunologists who might say vaccines are bad, because now step one is complete. I've established that there are experts out there. It might just be a handful, but there are experts out there who are saying vaccines are bad. Now the second step is to say, okay, is to hear out their arguments and hear what they have to say, and then to take a look at their data and say, okay, you are saying vaccines cause autism. Show me the double-blind study that indicates this. Because from a scientific perspective, you can't just say, well, this baby got vaccinated and later developed autism, therefore the vaccine caused the autism. Because that simply doesn't follow. It doesn't make any sense. It's like saying, well, this person went to the movies and later they developed malaria. Therefore, going to the movies caused malaria. Like, there's no connection between the two. And I know there's a lot of people who will have these horror stories will say, well, we got our baby vaccinated and later they developed X, Y, and Z. Well, okay. That doesn't mean that the vaccines cause X, Y, and Z. That's why you need double-blind studies. That's why you need the scientific method. And so I'm really going to be digging with this. I'm really going to look into this, and I'm going to look into it critically, and I'm going to try to examine it to the best of my ability. So it might be a year before I upload another video about vaccines, but I hope that everybody will enjoy the videos I upload in the meantime. And thanks, by the way, for watching my videos. As you can tell, I'm uploading a lot more content. I'm talking a lot more about different topics that I don't usually talk about. And I want to try to expand this channel and expand my website and talk about more issues that people really care about. But thanks for watching this video. Feel free to share it with your friends and family on Facebook. Feel free to email it to people, share it on Twitter. And be sure to subscribe, comment, and rate. This is Greg, out.